Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Today at the Races at Laurel. Naomi Tucker alongside Tim Tulloch. Tim, we're exactly 1 week away from the Oaks, a day and a week away from the Derby. But of course, we were talking about it before. That also brings us much closer to Preakness 147.
Yeah, we're very, very close to Preakness 147. Black-Eyed Susan Day, always a great weekend. Already getting geared up there, up at Pimlico. Tents are going up, the Turfside Terrace. Everything's happening up there right now, so we're looking forward to it for sure.
Absolutely. But look, on Kentucky Derby weekend, Kentucky Oaks, Kentucky Derby, you come and wager with us here at Laurel Park. We have gates opening early, 10 a.m., so you can get those bets in for one of the most important weekends of the year, aside from, of course, the Preakness a little bit.
Second most important.
Second most important,
but a big weekend, and always a big day here at Laurel Park with the Derby and our live racing, and also on Kentucky Oaks Day. So, come on out, see us. Take both days off. Why not?
Absolutely. Kick off the Derby, the Triple Crown Trail by placing your wagers with us here and having a fun day out. And if you are making some wagers, do have a look at our first bet promo. We've had this one for a little bit, but the promo code is now FAST100 to get $100 sign up bonus if you place your wager with First Bet, the official wagering partner of the Maryland Jockey Club. Had a look myself. Do like placing those wagers. Very good overview of the app. Very easy to use. But let's have a look at the current track conditions. We have turf racing again today. We're on a fast main track and a beautiful, firm-looking turf. We've been blessed with the way the weather has played ball with us.
It really has. I mean, the turf was very, very nice yesterday. A little bit warmer this afternoon. The wind's not as strong. Still great racing weather for these horses.
Yeah, can't wait to get things underway. Of course, 12:40 p.m. Is our first post. So let's dive into race number 1. We have an early pick 5 starting here. I thought I'd try my hand at it. Couldn't really narrow down a single, though. It was a tricky one, so I end up with a bit more of a higher ticket cost than I normally would go. 356 here in the opener, and then I have a couple of legs that I go a little bit tighter. I know I'm taking a risk here in race number 2, only using the number 2 Lindros for trainer Cahill Lynch, as well as the number 9 Frightland making his turf debut. Look, if you want to add one in there, maybe add Lunar Dash in the first time start for trainer Dale Capuano, who has a couple of strong morning workouts to his name. Race number 3, I go with the 2 and the 4 in there. Moonbiz very fast early, and then Golden Account for trainer Norman Cash, who didn't stop trying when returning to action at Charlestown not too long ago. Race number 4, again 2 deep here. Felt like this was one of the easier races for me. I think it's a very strong mama. I got this for trainer Michael Gorm or Muchacho Macho there for trainer Jamie Ness. I'm much more confident with those tightness. Race 5, I want some value. I am hoping to get some value in that first level allowance a mile on the turf. 3, 5, 7, 8, and 10 in that race. That's a really fun field coming up there. $60 flat your ticket. Like I said, a little bit more expensive because I feel like we have the opportunity to dig up some prices today, especially in those turf legs.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The pick 5s last Sunday, each the early and late pick 5, they paid $8,000, paid over to $2,000 yesterday. The early pick 5, so a $60 investment, take home $2,000 or something like that. Not a bad deal.
We'll hope we get that in our pocket today. We'll find out soon. But in race number 1, we use similar horses here, different order though. The number 3, Ridiculous, your top selection here for trainer Claudio Gonzalez. His last 2 races have been progressive, back to a win 2 starts ago, and then came back with a decent performance. He makes up ground quite encouragingly, making me think that the 6th furlong cutback isn't too much of a problem because they tend to go a bit harder up front.
Yeah, I don't think it's an issue at all. 2 back, a good race over a fast main track here at Laurel, going 7/8 of a mile. Really ran quite well in his last start. Closed some ground over that sloppy track. Not always the easiest thing to do. Ran a good race. Ran back to that winning race from March 26. I think it's good enough. Comes in here with a work for Claudio Gonzalez.
Well, the other Claudio Gonzalez runner is my top selection, Cozy's Wildcat. Lengthy break, nearly 4 months away from the track. Broke his maiden impressively, then came first back off the claim. Tried to run, going pretty fast early against optional claimers first level there. I think this by virtue should be a touch easier for him. And look, he's been working forwardly. I kind of like some of these Claudio runners on a bit of a layoff because I know that the works have gone into them in the AM.
And that's the key, though. Claudio puts the works in. They're typically ready. His layoff 30 to 60 days, very, very good. About 23% this one here. But the key to about Cozy's Wildcat is he just gets in the right spot. Broke his maiden for maiden 40. Tried the A other than. That didn't work. We're in the 25,000 this afternoon. It's going to make a difference.
I think so as well. I think Claudio has a bit of a stranglehold on this very. I do put really Sanchez Solomon runner in my exact, and so do you. 5-star Phil.
Yeah.
Quick week turnaround after a career best against a group that is easier than what he's facing
Yeah,
today.
he's stepping up today. He's coming out of that 2 lifetime for 10,000. Turning right back, as you mentioned. But he won easily. Probably didn't take a whole lot out of him. He can come back this way.
I think he can come back strongly. Race number 2 is a maiden claiming event. 5.5 furlongs on the turf. Keith Fuso isn't with us, but did hand out an early pick 4 ticket for us. Let's see how he plays it. Now, race number 2, he singles on the number 9. Frightland, also my best bet in there for trainer Brittany Russell. He ran better, really, than what it might look like on paper. That was a very, very slow pace that he tried to run into. So I think the pace should be a lot more honest here, and I don't think it's a problem for him trying to ply his trade on the turf. Does have a bit of a turf pedigree underneath there. So race number 3, he then spreads using the 2, the 4, and the 5, and then in race number 4, similarly 4, 5, and 7 spreads 3 deep there, and then in race number 5, race number 3, of course, race number 4, then 5, myself confused there. He uses the 3 and the 10, so kind of tightens down in the final part of it again. Look, I went very, very deep in race number 5. He just goes with the number 3 Royan as well as the number 10 Bardolin, who I did also throw in. They're $9 flat early pick 4 ticket. Talking about some value, really potential for high return here. But of course, everything is going to be hanging in the balance on the number 9 here, that maiden 40. Brittany Russell's very much lightly raced individual. Ran also, I already mentioned, he ran better than it looks with that slow pace he had to go into. But also look who he's running in. Jemison. Now, she's very highly regarded for trainer Brittany Russell, and we can just see him there. Really did not get away.
It was over before it ever began. Did not get away from the rail in a debut. Fergal gets him up underneath him, and he'll make a little bit of a run through the turn. Now, the race was slow early. There's no doubt about it. But the race was fast late. They came home in 12 and change to 12 flat for the last eighth of a mile, if I didn't cover up my fractions. Fergal knows. I mean, he's a veteran horseman. He let this horse have a little run, asked him through the turn. He knew this is where he was going to finish on that day. He wasn't going to abuse the horse to get something that wasn't there. Gets on the grass today. By Munnings out of a lot, Not for Love mare. The turf should work. Now, look, he still ended up running a big number in that race. 67 by her speed figure. Comes back with a sharp work since then. And as Keith and Brittany we trust, I'm going to trust Brittany here. Breaks from the outside, which is going to help him also.
I think so as well. And you were talking about the mare, Love's Blush. She was a stakes-winning turf router herself. So there's certainly a lot of turf influence in here. But let's talk about the number 2, though. Lindros for trainer Cahill Lynch. He can be pretty fast early. Raced on the grass only once in his career. Ran into quite a tough group. Entertainment came back to win a first level allowance next time out as well. Look, the ground was more softer. He's going to find some firm turf here and a fair bit of a cutback as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. The figures are there on the main track. You mentioned his lone turf race. It was a soft course up there at Delaware Park going long. He'll be sprinting today. He's going to get a firm turf course. He has shown speed on the main track. He's going to be well placed. He has to break from the rail now with the scratch of the 1 Ulf, but that shouldn't be an issue for him. And Georgie Ruiz, 3 good work since that last race.
And how about the first time starter, Lunar Dash for trainer Dale Capon? Solid works. Leading up to this, Holy Boss has had no winners of the turf just yet. Unraced dam, a first runner out of a lightly raced mare. Really tough to get a read on this one.
Yeah, this is actually, I read it a little easier because this is so out of character for Dale Capuano, a first-time starter on the grass. He doesn't debut many horses on the turf, so he must really believe that this is where this one belongs. Did take it to the turf on April 24th, worked him a half mile, says 52, but the works on the turf are funny here. You're all the way on the outside, so look to your right and you'll see it was the second fastest half of that morning of 15 half-mile works on the grass. So that was a good, solid work. It's very, very interesting and needs to get away. Once he gets away, it could be anybody's game. But look, the 9 Frightland is going to be, I think, is going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, this is a fun field lining up. I was struggling to find a single. I was tempted with Frightland, but then did use the Cow Lynch runner underneath just because I know how sharp the outfit is, and he's tried the turf before. I just didn't want to get bested by my second choice when it came to it. But race number 3, claiming 10 to 8,000 ohms at 2 lifetimes, 6.5 furlongs. The distance here. You know, I have similar horses, just a little bit of a different order. You landed on the number 5, Martha Rita, on top here. They might have aimed a little bit too high where they're on her first start after breaking the maiden for the 12.5. She did save a little bit of ground. There was a decent pace, so she was a bit further back than we've seen her when she broke her maiden. I think she's going to be able to at least run a bit more with them and then make a move into it.
I think so. Look, she didn't run a terrible race in her last start. She didn't get away well. She got bumped around at the break. She was farther off the pace because of that early, and she salvaged. I mean, she was 10 lengths out of it. She passed some horses. She runs fourth. She salvages a decent finish. But it was against the 2 lifetime 16. She gets into 2 lifetime 10,000 today, and that should be enough for today.
Yeah, I think that the drop in class is certainly going to help her. But I do look elsewhere. I went to Golden Account, your exacta play here for trainer Norm Cass. Look, did not stop trying, even though well bested in that Charlestown effort. Broke a little bit sideways at the start as well. Really tried to get going again, tried to find his friends. That took some starch out of it. I liked the way that she kept on finishing her race last time out, and I think she can move forward here at a bit more of a price.
Yeah, and it's only a turn back in half a furlong, but it's a turn back. That's a 2-turn race out there at Charlestown, going 7/8 of a mile. The 2 turns takes a little bit more starch out of a horse than 1 turn, and she was still kept on coming. Her races over her last 3 starts have been decent. Certainly her most recent is competitive here.
Yeah, I was saying at a bit more price, but I do think they're all kind of lined quite evenly is here. So we'll see what the board will give us. I'll quickly mention number 2, Moonbiz, because she looks like the early pace in here. Last time out, dueled hard on the lead. That took her energy away. I think if she can get to the front and kind of be left alone in here. Now, written by the stars is fast, but she's more on the outside. She'll have to work for it to get to Moonbiz. It might just set up in her favor here.
Yeah, it certainly will. She's got a good inside draw. She gets to break in between horses. I mean, Golden Account might try to put a little pressure on her also, but I think you just draw a line through her most recent start. The 2 starts prior to that were good efforts. If she can come back with either one of those, she'll be in the money for sure.
I think so as well. Race number 4, claiming $8,000 to $6,000 a fair 1 turn 1 mile. The distance here, and we got the exact same picks, Tim. I hope that bodes well. Let's get the super home in here. We'll start with the number 4, Mama I Got This, for trainer Michael Gorham. Double victories before entering in this spot. Made strong rallies every single time. First off the claim now for the Gorham. No, not first off the claim, excuse me.
First in the barn.
First in the barn for Gorham. This is the type of runner that I like to see down to that second wire. A horse that really does their best running late, and he fits that bill.
I agree with that. And Mama, I've Got This, and Muchacho Macho, who we both have in our exacta, are taking on open company for the first time. They're both coming out of lifetime condition races. Mama I Got This coming out of a 4 lifetime up there at Parks, but has been running very, very well. Winner of 2 in a row. Yep. The figures work, as you mentioned. Long stretch here to the second wire at Laurel Park. We'll be able to work with that first time. And, of course, in the first time in the barn of Mikey Gorham, they win about 34% of the time.
That certainly helps as well. Both of us use Muchacho Macho underneath. He seems to really be rounding into very strong form in here. Also one that has a double going in here. Did kind of have a little bit of bumpy start last time out. He ended up going quite wide down the lane, but he's got the ability and the speed to get a better trip today.
He does, and he's a back-to-back lifetime best figures in his last 2 races on a fast main track and then over the mud going this 1 turn mile in his most recent start. Jamie Ness, Jamie Rodriguez, boy, they're hot. They're winning at 48% currently at this meet here at Laurel Park. And, of course, Jamie's horses just always come back and run well. Off wins 33%, 2 in a row, 32%. They'll win two races in a row. So there's a lot to like there for sure. Al Brown's interesting. Don't toss Al Brown for sure. You have him there too. Every time he wins, he runs a good race at a good level, they get a little too excited and they ask him questions he can't answer. Last October, comes with the win, tries to starter 3 times in a row, can't get it done. They put him back in for the 10, gets the job done, a second and a win, and then they try an other than and then a starter.
Yeah.
He's not that type. This is him. This is where he can win. So don't be surprised if Al Brown shows up with a big race today.
Yeah, loves Laurel Park. Does not mind the 1 turn 1 mile configuration at
Loves
all.
it.
Yeah, you don't want to leave him out. He can certainly, he's got the figures on the go back to absolutely best this field and returns to, like you said, a level that is going to suit him much better. We'll take a quick commercial break, but stay with us. Welcome back to Laurel Park. We got 9 races on tap for you today. We're currently on race number 5, and that also starts that late pick 4 sequence, Tim. I do believe you created a bit of a ticket for us today.
I did. A $35 ticket. What did I do with my stuff? Here we go. $36 ticket. I go 3 deep here in a race of 5. Royan will be a short-priced horse in there, but he's coming off a bit of a layoff. There's still questions there, so I use the 5 Elusive Knight and the 8 Audacious Quality, also trying to go for a low price there. I am going to single in race 6 in Brittany. Both Keith and I trust. I'm going to single on the 7 where she told me to go. In race 7, I'm going to use the 3 and the 6. I thought about singling on DeRapper in that spot, but I threw in Jovis because Jovis is getting 11 to 14 pounds from the field, and that could go a long way. Race 8, I use the 1, the 2, and the 4, a nice first level allowance race on the turf. And in race 9, a maiden event sprinting on the turf. Go 4 deep there. The 1, the 4, the 5, and the 9. $36 ticket in the late pick 5.
Yeah, you do not want to get bested in the nightcap when you're still alive in your ticket. It's happened to me, unfortunately, a couple of times. So I'm hoping for you that won't be the case when going 4 deep here. But race number 5 is another turf event. We're going to mile here. First level allowance. This is another good field lining up here. We do see, of course, the turf horses returning to the racetrack. And let's start with the number 3, who both of us have on top. He's a little bit of my price play in here with that larger field lining up. Royan for trainer Michael Dickinson. Now, I've not seen this horse in 104 days. But let's look back at his last turf outing. Has been campaigned after that on the all-weather surface, but last turf start was a very decent one. He broke handily, sat a couple lengths behind the pace. The thing I like most, though, is what you'll see down the lane. He comes with quite the run when also getting eyeballed by another foe.
Exactly. This is November 20th up there at Aqueduct. He keeps on grinding away here to get the job done on the outside and keeps on coming. This was a big race. He ran a 79 Beyer speed figure in this race when breaking his maiden that day. Look, toss the synthetic races. They tried him on the synthetic, maybe taking over the winner. That didn't work. I don't worry about these horses, these turf horses coming off layoffs. Most of them are. They've had the winter off. It's pretty much
we had a run
same
in January,
for everybody.
which is kind of good. At least a run under his belt.
And by the way, his trainer is Michael Dickinson, and we might remember him bringing a couple good horses off long layoffs to win some very, very big races. Forest Boyce gets the call. You got to love her on the grass also. I think it's going to be tough to beat, but, it's a game, so I didn't single here.
No, I didn't. I actually went very, very deep. Yeah. I love Royan in this spot, but who knows if we can get a price as well with, some unknowns here on the turf with a couple of horses. But let's talk about the number 8, Audacious Quality for trainer Amy Cortez. Another one coming in of a lengthy layoff, 344 days of a bit of an upset winner on the turf in his last start, paid nearly $22. Didn't have the best of trips either, got steadied a little bit in the first turn, but once he kind of settled and was able to get into a rhythm, he proved to be tenacious down to the wire. Look, I thought it was interesting that Angel Cruz is going here, because I did see that he also had been on board Bardolino, but Bardolino now gets Jaron Barbosa.
Well, look at this horse's recent works for Amy Cortez. They've been very, very solid works on the main track. That race that he ran last time, that he won last May, almost a year, 11 months. It was a lifetime best. It was the first time she had put him on the turf. He had a couple hiccups. She had to give him a lot of time off. But Amy Cortez is funny. She's patient. She just doesn't care. When they're right to come back, she brings them back. I think that will be the case this afternoon with Audacious Quality. We'll get a good price, and we'll see how we go. But I think that race from Pimlico last May is more what he is capable of than his other races.
Well, we're talking about lengthy layoffs. Elusive Knight came back after, I think, nearly 600 days away from the track. I think he obviously would have needed that run, encountered a sloppy track, going the mile. Did not disgrace himself, to be quite honest. That 65 Bayer, that holds up. Now gets the blinkers on, gets Lasix on. I feel like getting back on the turf also might play a bit of a hand with this runner, because he stakes place on the synthetic, which does translate a little bit better to the turf, as we see back in Europe, getting horses going on the synthetic and then moving them along on the turf.
Yeah, look, he's run some strong numbers on the synthetic. And you're right. That race on return over a sloppy track, that's always a tough ask. He didn't run poorly at all. I think the turf has a possibility to work. By Ghost after out of a street cry mare. The dam was unraced. The second dam was a multiple graded stakes winner, 2-time winner on the grass, and she was graded stakes place on the grass. This could work for Corrales, Caramanos, and Elusive Knight this afternoon, and that's why I could not single on Roy.
Agreed. I ended up going five deep in here. Also tossing in Barlolino as well, who isn't even in my picks in here. But let's move on to race number 6. 3 other than event optional claimer, 6 furlongs is sprinting distance here. Look, it is so much fun to continue following where she told me to go. Do you have a video of his last race? That was a Not for Love stakes. Look, a very patiently campaigned individual, and Brittany Russell told me this in the past. She said he owes us nothing. We are taking our time with him. He loves to have his breaks. He loves coming in fresh. He's such a solid individual as well. When you see him, he's quite an imposing individual. Look, he's a 12-time stakes winner already. This is going to be his second time after that strong race here in the Not for Love. Nothing but positive about him here.
Yeah, nothing. He's a 14-time winner in his career. And, you know, Brittany, she's in tune with the horses. Now, yes, she has nice horses. She has good stock to work with, but you have to know what to do, and she knows what to do with this this horse. She's very methodical with this horse, and you look at his form, and you'll see every time she gives him this little bit of a break, not a ton, couple months, he comes back and he runs his eyeballs out, and every single time, 99, 99, 94 in his most recent start, and all winning efforts. So, look, she's got the stock, but it doesn't matter. You got to know what to do with it. And Brittany, I know we sing her praises, but the way she's managed this horse is textbook. It's brilliant.
I agree. I actually tried to beat him last time in the stakes. Failed miserably.
Silly girl.
Failed miserably, clearly. No, I'm all aboard with him here. Loves the distance as well. He's looking for a 9th win over 6 furlongs. Look, I'm not going against him today, but let's talk about a couple of others so we can use them for our exact and our trifectas. Amundsen won for me, for you as well. Stakes winner against New York Breds in 2020. Enjoyed a strong pace setup last time out to really get himself going for that 2022 season at Aqueduct. I tried to judge how tough that race was coming in here. Prince James was second, campaigned by Rob Atras. A return next out at 2 other than level at Belmont. That was yesterday, to run second with a nice 87 Bayer, kind of highlighting that was a decent return race. Yeah,
that was a good race in February. Has had a little bit of time. Came down here, has had 3 consecutive works here at Laurel Park, including a very, very nice sharp half on April 22nd. Look, when he's right, he's very, very good. But you can see his form. There are times where he's not right. He doesn't run well. They need to give him a little time. He comes back. Now he's coming off yet another little bit of a layoff. So, again, they've taken their time, and I would expect him to come back. And I would expect him to be right and to come back and run well this afternoon. Yeah, and picked her on the inside. Very, very sharp. He's won 3 out of 4 so far this year. Just a rocket from the gate and keeps it up. I think the reason I use him in 4th in the end is because, look, the class test is this. He's been running against Nicole Sata-Laus at Penn National. Now, you do look at those figures, and they really, really stack up. But there's some heavyweights in here that he's going up against. Yeah, you know, I almost got a little silly and was going to make him my price play of the day. Look, he's stepping up to his 2 other Dan level off a monster effort. He ran a 97 Beyer speed here. He ran off and hid by 11 lengths. But this is a 12-time winner who's capable of firing that type of race really anytime he wants. He's already won. On his form, he's won the 2 other Dan twice on his form. He's a 12-time winner, as I mentioned. Look at those works coming into this race. Now, we know Timothy Greiser with Chaosaurus, he doesn't mind working them. He'll lay him on the fence. 35 and 2. Half mile April 15th, 48. April 23rd, 3/8 of a mile at Penn National, 34 flat. Now, we know Penn can be fast, but however, 34 flat is absolutely smoking. This horse can fly, but does he set it up for where she told me to go? And probably does.
Well, and Eastern Bay is going to enjoy a really staunch pace as well, close into subpar pace in his last 2. We know what kind of class he has. Graded stakes place in the De Francis Dash. He's an old horse that I got to give some love to as well.
Yeah, you have to. It's going to be interesting to see. He was claimed off Claudio. If the new connections can keep up his form, he's a tricky horse. If you remember and you think back, this is a horse that went through some gate issues, wasn't getting away from the gate. So, Claudio and company knew this horse will have. I'm taking a little bit of a wait and see with Eastern Bay.
I use him in third. You got to
Oh
respect
yeah, I use
him.
him. You have to respect him. There's no doubt about it. But I'm not gonna.
I feel like our top 2 is going to be hard to beat for these foes. Race number 7, 2 other than an optional claim, a 6 furlong the distance. We do a video spotlight on a horse that both you and I are in unison on when it comes to this race. The Rapper. We look back at the last time that he went 6 furlongs. That was last year at Parks. No issue whatsoever with the turn back to 6, as this video here shows us.
No, it's not a big deal for him. Look, this is a 22-time winner. He's won 17 times going 3/4 of a mile. This is actually his distance. I know that he's last 2 races, he's won going the 1-turn mile here at Laurel Park, but this is his gig. He's a closing sprinter. He's going to get a pace to run at just like he did this particular day.
Here.
Exactly. Look, he said, okay, boys, the fun's over.
I'm going.
This. Yeah, I got this. You don't worry. Yeah, I got the picture. You worry about second here. But look, I really like him going 3/4. Comes in here with a sharp work for Jamie. Good when he turns horses back. And like I mentioned, with the speed down toward the fence, with going to lead and not away, it should. The flow's going to be there, no doubt about that.
Absolutely. I mean, I think going to the lead should come back with a better racer. Didn't fire as strongly in this last race, but that was a tough field, including the aforementioned Eastern Bay on kind of his stronger return. I think going to lead can start showing us a little bit more here today. Look, he's going to have to run a very strong figure to beat the Rapper, but I like him underneath.
Yeah, I like him underneath. It's going to be interesting if he uses the speed from the rail. I kind of feel like he's going to have to, but he has shown the ability to lay and finish like he did this past December. He only got beat a neck that day. He was outrun 3 or 4 lengths if he doesn't get away well, because not away is probably going straight to the front. I mean, that's a not a ways deal. I threw Jovis in here at the bottom of my ticket, and I used him on my my late pick 5. He's getting, the numbers don't match up. There's a lot of things that don't match up, but he has speed also. And he's also getting 11 to 14 pounds from everybody in the race. He's getting 14 pounds from DeRapper, and he's getting 11 pounds from North of Field. I know it's sprinting, but that's still a considerable amount of weight. If he's able to outbreak him, get loose out there for some reason under that light weight of 112, he just could keep going. Now,
and Jaron Barbosa is still our leading rider at present as well, so don't want to be sitting on that either. Race number 8, first level optional claimer for the 3-year-old fillies, mile 16 around the 2-turn here. Do have a video on the number 1, Bazinga C, who we both put on top. We look back at her last outing where she had the outside draw on the day. She kind of slowly creeps up to the group. Jerry Robb Speedster was in front. She kind of switches outward. You see her here. Has to work for it. Now it looks, I thought this was really, it looks like Moody Woman kind of has her, right? It looks like this is Moody Woman. She's going to go by. But Bazinga C looks her in the eye and says, not today, and comes back at her.
Yeah, and you remember Moody Woman, a woman was coming out of that race out of a stake where I think she ran second, if I remember, or third. She ran quite well in a stake. That was a big race. She gets to go back 2 turns this afternoon. She gets the inside draw, which we know here at Laurel Park is just a golden place to be. 2 times she's been 2 turns, big races, 69 speed figure, 68, 2 starts back, couple works for Timothy Kreiser. Timothy Kreiser could have a big day here today, coming off his big weekend with Kayla Source this past weekend.
Absolutely. And Moody Woman came back to clear this condition actually last time out with an 80 buyer as well after that race. Let's move on to race number 9 so we can conclude our handicapping segment. Maiden 40, 32,000. This is not a shoe-in race. This is a 5.5 furlong turf sprint. And look how completely disparaging we are here in our picks. Let's start with the last sip, your top selection here. Look, I had him on and off here for trainer Michael Merriam. Has finished twice in decent dirt starts in his 2 careers. Not 100% sure that the breeding suggests he wants to go on the turf. So I'm just kind of wondering and kind of for that reason going against him. But look, I might just be wrong.
Right. Well, look, I'm going to read you my note verbatim. Not totally sold. The turf will be the answer. But he has been running solid figures for this group on the main track, and he just may have found the right bunch of horses to beat, even though he might not be cut out exclusively to run on the grass.
Yeah, and I went with a pedigree angle here in Believe in Rock and Roll. First time started for Michael Trombetta. Full brother to stakes-winning turf sprinter, oldies but goodies, who also won on debut. And then a half sibling to a stakes place sprinter in change of seasons. Now, McLean's music, very decent with his first. A bit better with his 2-year-old firsts, but still strong with his 3-year-olds as well. And look, he's been working with the other Michael Trombetta entry. It seemed, anyway, when you look at the work tabs on paper.
Yeah, the second dam was a stakes winner on the turf. This is an old family for Larry Johnson here. The works have been solid. I mean, first time starter, going to have to get away. I mean, if you have to knock anything, you know, Michael's a little cold, debuting in maiden claiming, a little cold in first time starters. I mean, he's hot everywhere else, but those are a couple chinks in his armor right now. So, but yes, on the pedigree angle, if this one runs to his pedigree, he should go right to the
What about the first that you're using on the rail here? Not that much turf influence either, and not the first. Oh my God, sorry.
Yeah,
Fourth time starter, Highland Dream. I'm confusing myself with the horse that we were just talking about. Has the jump from the rail here. I didn't see a turf angle in the pedigree at all. I do see a lot of speed, so perhaps that's the key here, that he's shown that he can get away from the gate quickly and hopefully navigate himself.
Well, I mean, this is just this sort of race. I mean, outside Believe in Rock and Roll, there's a lot of horses out in this race that don't have a lot of turf angle. So hopefully we see him in the maiden 25 on the dirt next time. However, this one, it has shown a little bit of speed, as you mentioned earlier, and I just feel like something might be able to move this horse up a little bit. It could be the grass this afternoon.
Yeah, I used Rip It in my exacta really quickly. Dam Repose is out of Rainbow Lake. Rainbow Lake, a half-sister to Kind. We know Kind was a dam of the mighty Franco. So out-and-out turf pedigree, as you can see in his performances. Look, he's had a break. He's now a 4-year-old. This has been a very tricky horse to train. I think he was a late scratch last year because he ended up kind of washing out because of the heat. He's a nervous individual. I'm looking forward to see how he'll fare here. I like the sharp cutback. I think it's interesting, especially he's been campaigned going longer in here. Look, I'm taking a bit of a chance with, again, the pedigree here and a horse that perhaps with age might now have matured a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably going to get outrun. I mean, he's probably going to get outrun, and maybe he can come with some sort of finish. But he certainly has the figures going long on the turf from last year.
Yeah, we'll see how he fares here. 9 races coming your way as we move on to update you on all the Mid-Atlantic affairs in Lightning Round. Of course, J1 Barbosa riding high here, still leading rider here at Laurel Park. Young rider, I think he's 18 years old, but really has come in and made a name for himself in a very short period of time.
Oh, it didn't take long, did it? He won the first 2 races he rode here in Maryland. The first 2 races he rode in the country right here at Laurel Park, and has just kept on going. Look, he's small. He looks good on a horse, and, you know, he's certainly... I wish him the best of luck. But look, he's got some real riders behind him. Javion Toledo, Jamie Rodriguez.
Oh, yes.
And they've got some outfits behind him. You might have known them. Ness, Russell, That's pretty good. So keep on working, J-Rom, because they're going to be trying to come for you for sure.
Absolutely. He's got 5 chances today.
Yeah, he does.
So I don't think he'll be out of the winner's circle if he can help it. That's for sure. Let's talk about the trainers. You already mentioned Jamie Ness. Well, he's atop the trainer stand is at present, hitting at a 36% win rate. Now that is what get you in front of the likes of Claudio Gonzalez, who of course has the stable, has the firepower, is aggressive with his placements as well.
Yeah, and so does Jamie. I mean, Jamie's got the same type of stable. He just has it over 3 different places. And last year, percentage-wise, Jamie won a higher percentage of his races than Claudio did. Look, this could turn into a real horse race here with Ness and Gonzalez. I just have a feeling that it would be important to Jamie to try to take down a title in Maryland again. He was a perennial leading trainer here for a long time, and I think it would be important to him. But this will be interesting to watch. And, of course, look at those 3 in the weeds, McGee, Russell, and Rudy Sanchez-Solomon.
Very deep trainer bench here at Laurel Park for certain. And then we'll kick off the 2-year-old action tomorrow in the first race. Really, really exciting to have these youngsters competing again. Of course, tricky to handicap. They're all first-time starters. We've got a field of 7 so far lining up. I went with the 6 Alexis Storm for trainer James Laura's in here because of a bit of a pedigree angle again. But also, you are looking at works and a bit of a longer work tab, I think, bodes well.
I went with B Queen. B Queen for who's
Carla
got B
Morgan.
Queen? For Carla Morgan, working very, very well. 48 and change from the gate. That's a big work, and that's where I went to. But then you've got Jerry Robb with Tappin Josie in there.
On the
always very, very good with his 2-year-olds and his first-time starters.
Oh, this is going to be fun. This signifies the juvenile action returning here to Laurel Park. I can't wait. Love seeing those youngsters apply their trade here. And, of course, you do look for barns like Jerry Robb who tend to do well with their juveniles on the first outing. We're counting down until we kick off the live action here with 9 races coming your way today. Tim and I will be back in the afternoon as well. But in the meantime, do listen to Dave Rodman because we do have a couple of changes and scratches for today.